There are 3 very specific things that I do to help myself learn tricks more quickly. So today I want to go over those 3 things and a bonus tip that will hopefully help you too. And we're not even going over the most important 3, which are patience, persistence, and foundations. Those 3 are not part of this discussion. The first thing I want to go over are similar movements, and probably most of us are very familiar with Braille tutorials that will give you a few steps to help you get used to the tricks, hopefully so that you can learn them. However, I think we can break this down and expand on it so much more than any simple tutorial. Let's take the shove it just for example. So I think we're all pretty familiar with the Braille step where you just grab the board and you kind of push back. Well, we can take this a lot farther and work on other skills as well. The first thing would actually be to make sure you're lifting the nose off of the ground when you do this step. When you do that, you're reducing the friction. If you just try to push back here, then all 4 wheels are dragging on the ground. So we can push down, pull back like this, and suddenly you have a lot less resistance to fight against, and it's a lot easier to start practicing that step. The next thing we can do to work on a trick like that to find more similar movements. So what do we do in a shove it? We jump forward. So we jump forward onto the board. This is another similar movement that'll really help. Think about doing the shove it and just do it, but jump to the place where the board is going to land. This is a similar movement that will really help you. Other similar motions. So we have the push, we have the jump, and now, what did I say? I said that it's easier to do the shove it if you lift up your nose. So doing that, lift, 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 and then lift and shove. When it came to learning how to do the tail stop to tail stop underflip, this trick, the first thing I did was just practice the scoop. That's all I cared about. I didn't think about anything else, just the scoop. It's all I focused on. Once I felt like I was getting a better scoop, I started to focus on the front leg. I tried to pull up with the front leg. Then I knew that I needed to be able to land on one foot by itself. So I would do the scoop and the pull, and land on one foot, and I did not care what the board did. Once I was really good at that, I started to try to aim the jump towards where the board was going. And there we go. So breaking down every single movement, no matter how small, not just doing the flip and then jumping into committing, but really taking everything. If you want to learn how to ollie, it's why I recommend learning how to do hippie jumps first. Because if you can't comfortably jump on your board, you're going to have a really hard time trying to do an ollie on your board. The next thing I do is to make sure that I record my session practicing these, and then I'd literally go into my phone or to my editing software and I'd look frame by frame for mistakes or possible causes of my problems. So for example, okay, so I know what I did wrong because I did it on purpose, but if we go into the footage, we can slow it down and look frame by frame. I take my tail, and if I'm pinching it into the ground and jumping off of here, I'm just absorbing all of my pop into the ground, and it's obviously not going to come up. The other thing that I'm doing is obviously not bringing this foot up. The back foot needs to come up to give the tail clearance to come up as well. And then I know I didn't push the board forward. I didn't do a lot of things, so there's a lot that can go wrong in the very beginning when you're looking at your stuff. But as you go over time, you'll start to notice things. Let's say I'm trying to learn how to kickflip, but I keep landing in front of the board. The board is landing, quote unquote, behind me. If we look at the footage, we can look at that and see that I'm just leaning way too far over my toes. And then we have places to start from. And if you struggle to find these problems on your own, what you can do is watch a tutorial and then look at all of the don't do's and be carefuls, and then look at your footage and see am I doing that? If I say don't pinch the board and you look at the video and you're clearly pinching the board, that's something you can try to work on. Or if another tutorial tells you to hang your toes right off the edge of the board when doing a frontside 180, look at your footage and see, are you doing that? If you're not, go try it. Which leads us to the next one. I reverse engineer all of my problems. So what that means is that skateboarding is very much a balance. And you can think of it as a manual. If I'm trying to manual and I'm tipping too far back, I need to bring my weight more forward. If I'm falling too far forward, I need to bring my weight more back. You have to find that balance. And that balance exists all over skateboarding. So let me give you an example. If I'm trying to learn how to Casper and this happens, I'm falling off the back before I can even do it, I know that I'm leaning too far this way. I need to bring my weight a little more over me. But that kind of stuff works all over the skateboard in a lot more ways than I think we realize. If your tricks are happening really low, maybe you're not jumping high enough. I have this problem right now with kickflips. Somehow I am just always stopping my kickflip with my back foot really low. If I have a problem of falling forward, I probably have to lean back. So actually, those second two tips, the looking at the footage and then reverse engineering the problem, tend to go really well together. They're like the perfect pair. You look at the footage, you hopefully find a problem or something that might be a problem, and then you get to experiment from there and you get to reverse engineer what's going on. So I'm doing this, how can I change that to affect change? And my bonus tip is actually to quit when you feel frustrated. Obviously optional, do whatever you want to do, but I find that when I start to get frustrated, I can no longer skate properly anyways. I just get too in my head, I get too upset, and I cannot do the stuff that I could do earlier in the session when I was trying. So if I start to get frustrated learning a trick, I will stop the trick and just do something else. Or sometimes I'll even take a break from the trick and I'll take a few sessions off where I don't practice it anymore. Just so that when I'm going back with like a fresh mind and a fresh body. If you're not in a crazy rush to learn any tricks, I highly recommend taking breaks if you start to feel frustrated. That has helped me immensely. And hopefully something in here has helped you.